Now then, happy Home Brew Wednesday everyone. In contrast to last week's video, when I didn't even have any homebrew to talk about, this week I've got loads of homebrew stuff to talk about. It's going to be quite a long video, please bear with us. The first thing that happened, I got a bit of time to myself on Saturday, Mrs. was out, so I brewed a beer, so let's see how that went. So, here are all the things that are going into the brew. Got my usual grain bill, that's a kilogram of Marisotta and 100 grams of Vienna malt. And then I've got my hops. So this is the Cascade, 6 grams for 45-minute boil, 6 grams for 15-minute boil, and then my final 15-gram hop addition, which we are going to do at 80 degrees Celsius and steep for about 20 minutes. Got my yeast, and this is the yeast I use. That's a BRY 97 American Ale yeast. And the reason I use that yeast is it's pretty good at fermenting at room temperatures. I don't have the ability to temperature control at the moment, so I use that yeast for that reason. Got my sparge bucket, various pans full of water that are heating up. Got my extra water, boiling water that's cooling down. All the other various bits and bobs I'm going to use in this brew. And we've got the bucket of sanitizer sat over there. So, gonna crack on once the strike water hitches the right temperature. Back soon. Right, so got the water up to temperature, which is going to be 68 degrees Celsius. So now I'm going to put in the old grains. So it lost a little too much temperature for my liking, so I'm just going to give it a quick blast of heat to try and get it to the temperature I want it at before I stick the lid on and wrap it up to leave it to mash. I want it to mash at about 66 degrees. Finally, got it back up to 66 degrees. So, lid on. We'll get a few tea towels to wrap it up in. And then we're going to leave it for an hour. Come back later. So, there we go. Leave that to mash, and come back for the mashing out step. So, I've made a smidgen of an error with this brew. When you saw me wrap the pot up in the tea towels, what I hadn't done was turn the heat off underneath the pan. I'd only turned it right down very low, and it had been like that for half an hour, and I came back to it and the whole thing was up at 85 degrees rather than the 68 that I wanted it at. So I wasn't too sure whether or not I was going to persevere with this brew, but I've decided that I have. So basically I've turned the camera back on because I wasn't going to film it if I wasn't going to persevere with it. So yeah, I'm not sure what that's going to do to the character of this beer. We'll soon find out. It's been mashed at an incredibly high temperature. But there we go. So here we are at the boil stage, and I'm waiting for it to achieve hot break. But yeah, right cock up there. Still, we live and learn, don't we? So I hope I've not completely ruined it. But we'll see, won't we? Yeah. So we've reached the point of hop break. Hopefully I've not added too many unfermentable sugars to my wort through that colossal cock-up I made. However, I'll be back in 15 minutes for the first hop addition. So it's been 15 minutes, time for our first hop addition. Lovely jubbly. It's 45 minutes into the boil. Time for hop addition number 2. So we've come to the end of our 60-minute boil. So now I'm going to turn the gas off. The lid's going to go on. And we're going to put that in the water bath. We're going to cool that down to 80 degrees Celsius before we do our hop steep. So there we are, that is cooling down with the lid on in the water bath. I'll keep checking on that, and when it gets to 80 degrees, I'll put my hops in and we'll let it steep for about 20 minutes, I think. So it's been chilling for a little bit. It's down to about 70 actually. I left it a little bit long, but still. We're going to put in the last hop addition now. Put the lid on and leave it to steep. Alright, so this has been steeping for a while now. Let's give it a temperature check. Still much too hot for your pitching yeast. So we'll go dunk it in the ice bath. There we go, that's gonna sit there and cool down for a little bit. Hopefully, before too long, we can pitch some yeast into that and get it fermenting. We finally got our water down to temperature, so now I'm going to put it through this strainer into my bucket, and then from the bucket, I'm going to put it into my fermentation vessel. So right, in the water goes to the fermentation vessel then. And as I suspected, not quite enough liquid in there. So I'm going to top it up some. Now we're going to pitch the yeast. And the last thing we need to do is give the whole thing a good old shake. Take a gravity reading. Holy moly. It's 140. No, 130. No. Yeah, about 140. I suspect that's something to do with how poorly I mashed the grains, because I've been getting at least 155 with my other brews when I haven't made an arse of the mash. But we'll see how it goes. Cap goes on. Bottle of Star San and the blow off tube. So that's it. Done. So, yeah. Made a bit of a balls up with the mash. Mashed it at an incredibly high temperature. Ha. Bugger. Still. I checked around on forums, and they say, although I haven't added too many unfermentable sugars like I feared when I was making the beer, I may have added on some, flavours from the husks of the malts that's gonna make it a bit corny. So, but I'm just gonna continue on with this process as normal. Just see what it tastes like. Hopefully, it'll still be a drinkable beer at the end of the day. I am using quite a lot of hops in it, so hopefully it's going to disguise a lot of the malt flavour if it is not up to snuff. But it's sat in the corner, it's fermenting away, so hopefully we'll get something out of it at the very least. The other thing that happened is I bottled up my Chinook Pale. There it is. I got 8 bottles out of this one. I've also pulled a sample that I'm going to taste and check the final gravity reading to see what kind of percentage we've got on this. So here it is. Here's the sample I pulled off. The final gravity reading is about 116, 1016, which is only 2 points lower than when we first put it into, only 2 points lower than when I first racked it to secondary, so it hasn't done that much fermenting in secondary, but it has cleared down nicely. Don't know if you can see that, but it's another nice clear beer. Probably not as clear as the Cascade, but nice and clear enough. So, time to see what it tastes like. It's also changed its character again since it was a very young beer. It's very nice. It's got a good grapefruity note to it. It's lost a lot of that sweetness and honey kind of taste that there was when it was young. It's got a good grapefruity note, nicely bitter. I tell you what, I could drink a lot of this. I can't wait for these bottles to be conditioned and ready to drink proper, because this is very, very nice. Yes, Chinook hops, use them, fellas, because they're great. I really, really like that. And all it is Chinook hops and Marisotto mostly. Brilliant. I'm just going to finish this off because it's lovely. So the original gravity was 1055. It's gone down to 1016. So that's going to give me around about 5-ish. I'm trying to do that in my head. I should probably use a calculator. But there you go. I'd use a calculator on my phone, but I film on my phone. So that's not going to happen. I'll post the actual percentage in the video description down below. But I am looking forward to this one being ready. Got a couple more weeks on my Cascade Pale being ready. So when that's ready, I'll do a review on that. Possibly when fermentation is finished, I'm going to rack my balls up beer to secondary. But also I'm going to dry hop that at the same time. I'll film that. That's probably going to be the next Home Brew Wednesday, is me doing that. Then after that, my next brew, I'm going to be doing another single hop beer, but I'm going to be using Centennial hops on the advice of Banana Brewer, Big Banana Brewer, I think that's his name. I should have checked that before I started the video, but hey ho. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing next. And what I'm basically trying to do with all these single hop beers is learn about hop flavours so I could combine them to make quite a nice IPA, American style IPA. beer. I do like those classic West Coast grapefruity, piney sort of tastes in my beer, so hopefully I'll be able to make a nice one of those with all I'm learning through all these different hopped beers. So check us out on Twitter, check out the Facebook page. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, give it a comment. Really appreciate it every time you guys thumb up the video or comment, and I try and reply to all the comments that are left on these videos. And hopefully my balls up beer's not going to be too bad, but we'll see. So thanks for checking me out, guys. Happy Homebrew Wednesday.